Hi, we're now going to look at how I made this card, which is another Standy Uppy card, but it has this beautiful die cut piece cut out of the centre here, and then inside I've just stamped the greeting and the rose, and that way you just get a glimpse when it's stood on the mantelpiece. You just get a glimpse through the fretwork of the words and the sentiment and the rose below. Obviously you could just write up here if you didn't want that showing as well, or you could write on the back, either way works. But I just wanted to just show a little bit through so you got that feeling of depth. And this is done using the new detailed design, detailed floral thinlits dies, which come in the Floral Boutique suite, product suite. Okay, so you get these three pieces, and I've used this piece here to do that, just there. So how I did this it's very easy actually. You're going to need to have a piece of thick Whisper White cardstock, and I've cut this from an A4 piece, 10.5 centimetres by the whole of the length of the A4 piece, and I just popped this on my grid paper and worked out that I wanted it about 1/3 of the way up, so I worked out where that was going to be and put this so that the bottom edge was on the 25 centimetre line, or just under the 25 centimetre line. Just pop it on where you need it to be there. So that's kind of how I measured it, so that you know where it is, because obviously I haven't folded the card at this point. It just goes through your Big Shot machine quicker and easier if it's flat. You don't have so many things flapping around. So then you're going to need your precision plate. Excuse the state of my cutting plate. So this is the precision plate that you can get from Stampin' Up, and this is such a brilliant piece of equipment because it just pulls all the pieces out of the die. It really helps to get a clean cut first time, and it then just pulls everything through the die so that you don't have to sit there for hours poking all the bits out of your machine. So you would lay this onto your die base like that, and then put your second cutting plate on top. So this one counts as a cutting plate. You don't need another cutting plate underneath, and then you run that through the machine. I'm going to give it a go. I've never done the Big Shot on camera before because I don't know how much it's going to shake my camera, but we'll give it a go and see how it is, and if it's really bad I'll cut it out so that you don't have to feel dizzy. So bear with. See how that goes. And it does take a bit, and then it does click, and I would go back and do it at least twice just so that you've got that through. And if it's the first time that you've seen die cutting, don't panic about that click and the fact that it sometimes sounds like it's cracking. That's perfectly normal. It is literally just the pressure pushing the dies down. Okay, so now we've got that on there, we can just, so now we've got that on there, we can just turn this over, and you can hopefully see when I zoom in a bit, this is already cut all the way through that beautiful fretwork there. And then I use the Big Shot die brush. Comes in a box like this, and you get a little foam mat like this and a little brush. So I take this off, take my Big Shot plate away, don't need that anymore, and then you're gently going to just roll it over like this. Now I say be gentle. If you scrub it backwards and forwards, you can catch these strands, I don't know what they're called, these brush ends. You can catch these in the holes and then pull them out, and before you know it, you have a very nude brush with no bristles. Bristles, that's the word. So just gently do this, and you're just literally getting it to the point where you can lift the die off. And you see, look, we've got all that apart from that one little bit there. So pop that out with my pokey tool. Now you could sit there and pop out all the rest using your piercing tool, but actually you can just go back over gently, and you have to be more gentle if it's designer series paper, but you can just literally brush the pieces away. And again, be gentle because you don't want to start to curve the paper, which you can get if you do too hard a brushing. Okay, there we go. And you might be left with a few really tiny pieces which you can pop out. I'm doing these quickly. I would normally use my brush, but for camera we'll do that. There we go. So now we have that completely cut through. Very quick, very simple, and a beautiful design. So get rid of all that. I'm sure I will at some point start making things out of what's left, because you do get some nice cut pieces, and of course you could put them all back in, but that would take far too long. But look, you get nice little flowers and some leaves. It tempts me every time. Okay, so then now I'm going to score my card at 14.9, and again, as always, I do it both sides just to help with that folding. There we go. Just be a little bit careful as you go so you don't catch the cutout design with your fingers. Okay, and then all I did to finish the card was I cut a piece of the Floral Bouquet Designer Series paper stack. This is 10 centimetres by 4 centimetres, and that just sits on the bottom there. And if it's not quite straight at this point, if you've had some slight moving of your cutout piece, this is where the twine comes in very handy, because it just helps you hide all kinds of things. Okay, so then I'm going to wrap a piece of baker's twine around there. Give myself enough to tie a knot and tie a bow. There we go, and you can position this wherever you want to, but I just decided I'm going to do that. Oops, make sure it's straight. Otherwise you can, if it's not straight, you can get some extra, it gets too floppy and get a bit of dangle room. There we go. I'm a bit cack-handed today. There we are. And then you can tie your bow. And I'll leave it attached to the twine just so that I can, you know, not have masses and masses of overcut. Right, then I'm just going to chop off the ends, and then we just need to pop this piece down here. So I've pre-cut a piece that is slightly longer and slightly wider than I actually want it to be, because we're going to be doing this very long thin wording again. I've decided I want to do this in Night of Navy just to see what it looks like all on one tone. So I'm just going to stamp my words. I can't speak and stamp at the same time. I must learn how to do that. Okay, so that's there, and then you can just trim that down if you want to across the top, but I actually think it looks quite nice that size actually. So I'm just going to pop that on and then trim the ends, and this way if you leave it so it's just slightly longer than the card, you have some room. You know, if you've put the stamp a little bit too far to one end, gives you a bit more room to jiggle it around and trim off where you want to. There we go. I think that kind of works like that. Oops. And then I'd go back in, put that out of the way before I dunk my card in it, which is what I can normally do, and then I would just trim these ends off here. Hold it close and just cut that. Hold it close and cut that. And I cut back to front just so that I know I'm not cutting over the edge on the front. Okay, so that's that without anything in the inside. And then I stamped the big rose down the bottom. Again, Night of Navy, straight down, pretty. And then the words, I'm going to do those in Night of Navy as well. Check you've got it out the right way. And I wanted that to show through, so I made sure it was in the central position. There we go. And then that comes like that, and just peeks through your card when it's closed. So those are the two options. One with Pop Pink, one with Night Navy. One's with a slightly larger banner, but both cut out and stamped inside. So there we go. That's how you do that card, and come back for the next video and see what else I've got in store. Thanks, bye.